Now, I must say, this feels like one of the most evil things that you can actually do to an old car like this, so you want to make sure that you get it right. So that's how it's going to look. G'day and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be mounting a 79 series visor onto a HJ61 Landcruiser Sahara. You can pick these up from most Toyota dealers, and I think I got this for 180 bucks, but it did come in a grey primer color. So the first thing you want to do is paint this. I painted this while we were painting the rest of the car, but I haven't had a chance to put it on yet. So we'll start off by doing a dry fit, seeing how well it fits straight on, and then we may have to trim it off, but I'll give a detailed example where you need to trim it to make it fit as best as possible. So the kit comes with some gutter mounts for each side, and on the snorkel side it's also got two little holes where you have to actually drill into the car itself. Comes with all the bolts for that. As they bolt directly into the visor, it gives it a bit of a cleaner look. So that bolts straight into the gutters, and then you've got a little packet of screws and washers to drill into your car. Also comes with some tape to put onto the edges underneath the edge where it fits into your car. So the first step is to measure 430 mils from the bottom of the gutter and mark with a non-permanent marker. And that'll be where the bottom of the visor is supposed to go. You may need some help for this part, and being careful with the edges of these not to scratch the paint. Yeah, slide it down a little bit.
Covers up the scratch I did.
The
curve is no longer matching it.
Ah, okay.
These ever fall off while driving?
Hope not. So after a few trial and errors of fitting it, I've discovered that I need to chop this much off the snorkel side and about that much off this side. It fits up well on this side because of this little groove here where it sort of bevels out with the rest of the roof, but the screw isn't quite fitting on this side. And I think that this is mainly to do with this silver flashing here, because I had to take this off when I was painting it and I've glued it back on. It may have put a little bit of space in between. Good. Probably wouldn't recommend sanding metal, but I butchered that line with the grinder, so just tidy it up a little bit. So I'm going to try to fit this again, and if it fits, then I'll probably put some Bill Hirsch paint just along this edge, just so that just because now it's a raw edge, we don't want that to rust away, otherwise that will destroy our gutter. We definitely don't want that. Eee! That's not good.
Huh?
I scratched it. Oh, look at that beautiful blackbird. Alright, how are we looking there?
Great.
Looks pretty even to me. So once you've got it lined up as best you can, you've trimmed it off where you're happy with it, you're going to measure the underside on this side and the underside on this side, making sure that it's the same. And then you also want to measure from the bottom of here to the top of here and make sure that it's the same on both sides. And then just as a dry fitment, screw these in sort of halfway. Push this middle bracket in as much as you can, and then draw a little dot, and that's where you're going to put your little screw holes. So I've got a dot marking it out, and this is how it's going to look on this side. Pretty happy with that. Same again on the other side. You just want to push those in, pop a little pen through, mark that so you can drill them out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's how it's going to look. Okay, so now that we've done that, here comes the scary part. We've got to drill this bit out and this bit out. And coming over to this side, we need to drill a little hole there and a little hole there. Now, keeping in mind that these screws are actually very tiny, we're using a very, very small drill bit to get this so that those screws remain tight and hold this in place as best we can. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill it sort of on an angle, because it almost feels like it goes through into the in skin of the roof. So I'm going to drill it sort of just a little bit outside so that it's nice and tight, and that the screw is sort of going in like that. If it goes through the gutter the whole way, the lip of the visor sitting in there will get pinched by the other side of the screw. Just going to get a screw and just make a little indent exactly on the middle, and that way our drill is going to have a little starting point so it's not moving around too much. That's the worst thing I've ever done, I think. That just feels wrong. Now that I've drilled that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch up the inside of this with Bill Hirsch paint, and whilst it may not do much considering we're going to whack a screw back through it once it's dry anyway, it is just going to mean that there's something there, and you know, it's not going to rust away as quickly. I'm going to do the same for the edge that we cut on the visor, leave that overnight, and then put it on properly tomorrow once it's all dried. Alrighty, so if you know me, you know how much I love Bill Hirsch paint. It's a super good protectant from rust, and it's called Pore 15 paint over rust. And I'm just gonna dab a little bit on these places where I've drilled, and also give a little extra sealant on this part that I've been meaning to paint for a while. And it doesn't look perfect, but it looks better than rust. If you don't have a can of this stuff lying around, I would recommend you should get some. But mainly in these little holes that we've just cut out, and anywhere where the paint is slightly scratched around it from our test fitments. Just want to make sure that that's not going to oxidize and rust away. And we'll quickly do the other side. Nothing too perfect, just to cover up any of that bare metal. Opening and closing the door all the time. Sometimes the rubber can wear away and the metal starts to hit metal in some places, so feel free to use this time to just touch up some of those spots as well. It's not going to hurt it, and it looks a little bit better than rust anyway. And we did actually scratch the paint a little bit on the side when we were fitting it, so I'll just dab a little bit on here. Keeping in mind that most of this is going to be hidden under the visor, and you want to protect it now so that you don't have to take it off later and do it again when it happens. So get some of that in ya. Gorgeous. This edge will be covered by the gutter, but it's not for looks here. It's so that it doesn't rust away underneath, because if there's no airtight lock on it, it's going to rust away, and because it's under the guard, we won't know about it for a few years, and then suddenly the A-frame will start to rust out and we'll be out of luck. So we'll try to mitigate that as much as we can by painting this edge, and because we're not going to see the inside edge either, we can dollop a bit on there as well. It's not perfect, not beautiful, I don't care. Cool, so I'm going to put this in a dry place overnight to dry off, give it a wipe down because I've made it pretty dirty, and let that dry overnight and put it back on tomorrow. Cool. Oh, yeah, look at you. Yeah, this is your truck. You can have this when you're 21. Yeah. Hola. So it's been a few days since we painted this, and the weather's finally just good enough to put this on. So I've got an extra pair of hands to help me with that. Only problem is with these crush washers is that it's now too much distance between this bolt and the top of the door, so I just took a bit of paint off the door. So I'm going to get rid of these washers and see if I can just put it in without the washer. Now what's important here is to not drill them in and drill them out too many times if you can avoid it. Otherwise you'll start to open up that hole that you've drilled and it will become a lot looser. So you want to sort of line it up the first time. Now the top one is good, but the bottom one doesn't seem to be holding as well, and I think that's because I've drilled it in and out a few times and sort of shredded this nut a little bit. So I'm going to move up a size and put a small, put one that's slightly thicker in there to sort of hopefully hold that a bit firmer. With the washers, it was just hitting the door. I actually took off a little bit of paint there, no biggie, but that's essentially what it looks like. And that's what it looks like on the inside. Now that I've got that on, I will tighten this side, these top ones here. And obviously you don't want to over tighten these either, because if you popped one off now, you'd be pretty off it, wouldn't you? There we go. That's not going anywhere, is it? So the best way to get this on evenly is to measure from the bottom of this to here, the same distance. So I think for me it was 410 mils. So that is the final product, the HJ61 with the visor. So there you have it. That is how to put a 75 or 79 series Landcruiser Sunvisor onto an older style Landcruiser. I hope this tutorial helped you out a little bit with figuring out where to drill the holes and how to slightly modify it to suit whatever car you're putting it onto. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer it with the sun visor or without the sun visor. If you want to see many more of these Landcruiser builds, check out the other videos on my channel where we've got videos on how to do a two-tone paint job like the one you see here, as well as how to retrim door cards, how to put the rear tailgate in, and a few other little bits and pieces, how to take the flares off and fix those and repair those and all that sort of thing. So my name is Nathaniel, thanks for watching, and check out Nathaniel's Life or mahimedia.au if you want to see more of this content like this. That's all from me. I'm going inside because it's cold.